Hi, welcome back to Vola TV. It's Thursday, the 11th of March. My name's Barry Wright. I'm Deputy Head at the Academy, and I'm joined today by our Head Teacher, Matthew Boyle. How are you, Matthew?
Hi Barry, I'm great. I'm always excited to join you on Vola TV, so this is a treat today for me.
Great, well, it's lovely to have you here. And we've got some really important information because I think, as most of our viewers know, there are some real changes to the situation for schools starting next week. And as of Monday, a lot of students will be coming back to school in a phased return.
Exactly, yes. And for that reason, we're putting out Vola TV on Thursday this week, just to give parents another day to digest, because we know this is a fairly well-watched information source. So yes, the idea is that the government has set this 3-week period, which is still a partial lockdown period, in as much as they're trying to keep social distancing to the fore, reduce numbers in schools, so approximately 1/3 at a time for us. But the idea is to get young people to all be in at some point in each of the 3 weeks to enjoy being back at school. And that's not just our words, that's the idea. That we'll sort any problems that they've not been able to get sorted out during their online period of learning. We'll just find out what their concerns are, and the bottom line is get them ready to feel great about coming back full time if we get the green light for that nationally in 3 weeks' time. 3 weeks' time plus the Easter break,
plus the holiday
break, which would be 5 weeks away in practice.
Of course. Well, fingers crossed we are back after the Easter holiday full time, and hopefully much more like back to normal. But because there's a change here, and because all of the teachers are back at school next week, I know that remote teaching won't be happening exactly as it has been during the past 10 weeks or so.
No, remote teaching will be a more limited business. Now, I know that the First Minister said, you'll still be doing high quality remote teaching at home. Parents should understand that they probably heard in the media and in conversations anyway. If you have all of your teachers engaged in reduced size groups in school, which for us is groups of 10 or 12 within any class, then it means that any class that they're teaching, you take 3 teachers basically, or 2.5 teachers, which is 3 in reality, to do. So our teachers are all going to be back in school next week. They're going to be working their whole timetable. In fact, most of them will be working to capacity. There's a contractual limit to what teachers can be asked to teach. So we will do what we can, and I just ask parents to be patient. And remember, it is only 3 weeks. It's about getting you ready to come back. There will be lots of online work that you've not completed. Go back and complete it. There is a stack of resources out there. There are a stack of resources out there. Sorry, Barry, like Bite Size and the online maths games stuff. There is no shortage of stuff for young people to use, and our departments and staff will post things whenever they can. But the big plea to parents is it's not back and forward. There's not a teacher sitting at home scheduled for that period. They're in class, probably in school. So don't expect to email and get an answer back. It's going to be just do the best we can together. It's all we've got. And this is only 3 weeks. We'll get through it together and we'll make the best of this.
Great, and the hub remains open for youngsters who are eligible for the hub on days when they're not scheduled to be in school, and the red, blue and green rota.
Yes, that's confused some people who have various reasons to have to attend the hub. That's right. If you're not in a red, blue and green rota, which we should talk about briefly, then that's fine. You come into the hub as normal, and but when you're in the days that you're on the red, blue or green rota, you're actually just in school. You'll follow your school timetable in those days. So that's a confusion for some, but we'll keep you right on that.
Of course, and parents should have received information about whether, just to explain, every student at the school will either be red, green or blue at present. And what that basically means is that you have a colour assigned to you, and each colour comes in on a certain day. Now, we can't make any changes to that, unfortunately, because as you'll appreciate, it's really, really complicated to make sure that we can ensure all of the safety measures and social distancing and to make sure that the class sizes aren't excessive. But you should have received information about what day your children are due in school. Students should have that information too, and if you don't, please do get in touch with us very, very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And the transport will operate as normal as well. There is an outside possibility if at any point you have a bus that fills up if you get school transport. Don't worry, the transport company knows that, and you just wait and another bus will come for you shortly afterwards. I think that will be rare. It may even not happen, but if it does, they're aware of that, and that's the contingency.
That's helpful. That's good. And we know, though, when we return, really, really important, we have to emphasise that social distancing is required absolutely everywhere. We need to stay 2 metres apart from one another, which isn't an easy thing in a school, because we do get quite close to one another and we have quite conversations, and we like to, see young people hugging their pals in the corridor, and in usual times that's just nice to see. But at the moment, we have to stay 2 metres apart, and we've also got rules about masks at the moment, don't we, Matthew?
Yes, there's a new rule from government, which is if you're an S1 to S3 student, you have to now wear your face covering in class and everywhere in corridors and social areas. So effectively, when you're in school, you have to wear a mask. There are very few exceptions, really only when you're eating, and even then we would ask people to take themselves to a socially distanced spot and eat. The rule did exist anyway for everyone in corridors and senior S4 to S6 students, but that's now been extended. But the big thing is we're asking for parents to talk to young people, and if you're listening to yourself as our students, this is a time for us to be really responsible. Everyone needs the country to reopen. We're getting a very clear message that they're trying this out gradually to see that it doesn't push numbers up unduly, and part of that will be about young people taking responsibility. So even though there is a tendency for young people to want to cluster together when they're talking, and even lots of hugging, because they haven't seen each other for a while, resist it, folks. Just talk to each other, say hi, keep your distance from each other. It's to protect everyone. The world might be different in another 2 or 3 months, but we need to do a bit, play our part to get us there.
And doing our bit, it's just really important, isn't it? That's the kind of key message. We're all doing our bit. It's not a school rule, it's a national and indeed an international thing. Really across countries, everyone's got to do this same thing at the moment. Now the canteen won't be open.
Before you go on to that, should we also just remind people about testing? I know they've had a letter.
Of course, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Remember, part of the government's safety preparation for schools returning is that for this phase of 3 weeks, senior phase students and all of the adults in the school can pick up a testing kit for the so-called lateral flow testing, the home testing kit. We've done it. It's no big deal. Not the loveliest thing in the world to do, but it's no bother, and it seems pretty simple to understand. Take that home, do your test twice a week, and that means that if you get a negative test, you can arrange a more authoritative test, from a local centre, but you can isolate at the same time and make sure we don't get any outbreaks or spreading in the school. The school office will sort you out for that. Phone in if you're in any doubt about it, but those test kits are there for all students. It's also for all S4 to S6 students. It's worth saying when we come back after the Easter holiday, that will be different. It's going to be extended to every student, but for these 3 weeks, S4 to S6 students only. Sorry, Barry.
No, not at all. That's really, really important, and it's part of the wider provision about getting us back to school safely, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, when we come back next week, between next Monday and it's closing for the Easter holiday in 2.5 weeks, there won't be a canteen provision at the school. So it's important that young people bring a packed lunch. But if youngsters go out for lunch, we've really got a plea. And again, this is one of these things we'd really like you to talk to your kids about over dinner or sitting in front of the TV. Just having that conversation about how important it is that they adhere to government regulations when they're in the community. And we'd really urge parents to have that conversation with students, wouldn't we, Mr. Boyle?
Yeah, absolutely, Mr. Wright. It's your community, and as school stakeholders here, it's our community too. We need to take pride in it. We need to be good neighbours. Be good neighbours. I love that phrase. Good partners and good neighbours. One little point to note is if anyone's sending their kids out to get a Greggs, sandwich or whatever, Greggs have asked us to let you know that they are only taking card payments, so that might be a problem if you're giving someone some cash to get their lunch. Seems trivial, but it's probably quite important to know if you get your hopes up and you've walked up to Alexandria Centre and you can't get your Greggs.
And as any TV show would say, there are other sandwich and steak bake retailers. Of course.
Yeah. But do those ones do the vegetarian sausages?
Oh well, hey,
Just
I'm
saying,
not sure
just
about
saying,
that.
just
I'm
saying,
not
Barry.
sure about that. A cause close to your heart, Mr. Boyle.
Indeed.
Also, dress code will be slightly relaxed when we come back, and that will be similar to what it was like during or prior to the lockdown. During the coronavirus outbreak and pandemic over the course of the last year. So really we're looking for youngsters to wear uniform to school. If they don't have PE, if they do have PE, then we'd encourage them to come to school wearing PE kit, whether that's joggies or a hoodie or what have you. And the other part of that is that windows in classes will be open to aid ventilation. So it's important that you do wear a sweatshirt or something that just keeps you warm. The weather's getting nicer, I'm pleased to say, but it's not quite there yet. In terms of check-in, sorry, Mr. Budd.
No, and it's just worth saying, we're playing our part to make life easier. If you've got PE and you can't use a changing room, sure, come in your PE outfit, that's fine. Let's keep the clothing respectful and decent. We're not looking for any sweary words on t-shirts. We're not looking for football logos or colours. Just keep it all relatively respectful.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an important point. And we'll have to continue with our check-in process. The days that you aren't in school, it'll be really important that young people go through the check-in, as they've been doing for the past 10 weeks. Now, when you're in school and you're being taught face-to-face, you don't have to worry about that. But every other day, please do make sure that you're doing that check-in. And one final bit of information. I know that this episode's been very information-heavy, but we know it's important, and we know that you want to know what's going on. But Chromebooks, a lot of young people at the school have borrowed Chromebooks to help with online learning, and we're not looking for those back yet, are we, Matthew?
No, and I know lots of people will mean well and might bring them, but you've still got your online learning for the next 3 weeks in between. Although I'm saying it won't be the gold standard that we've given, it's still plenty of learning to be done there. So keep it until after the spring break or the Easter break, depending on your way of saying it. And after that, we'll be looking to people bring their Chromebooks in immediately, and we'll have a big audit and get them all ready and checked. We've got them all tracked to whoever's got them at home, and we'll get them all cleaned up and ready for use in classrooms again. It's really important because we have given out so many. We need them in classes.
Great. Well, thank you very much. Now, to end the programme, I wanted to say that we are really, really looking forward to seeing you all back in the building next week. It's something we've been looking forward to for a number of weeks, so it'll be lovely to see you back. And I know that you feel the same way, Matthew.
I honestly, you've said everything I need to say there. You're our students, you're our families. This is what we're in school for. We want you back. We want the country to be safe and everything to be a bit more normal. Really looking forward to seeing you on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, depending when your first day is.
Great. Well, thanks very much for joining us today in Vola TV. Thank you, Matthew, and we will see you next week.
Have a good weekend, everyone. Thank you, Barry.
Thank you.